anti-hate group gives several prominent U.S. colleges a failing grade for anti-Semitic or anti-Israel activity on campus. The Anti-Defamation League reports more than 300 incidents on U.S. college campuses during the 2021 to 2022 school year. Joining us now to discuss is Rabbi Yaakov Menken, Managing Director of the Coalition for Jewish Values. Rabbi, welcome back. Always good to be with you. The ADL report also includes incidents of vandalism, physical assault, and exclusion of Jewish students from certain campus organizations. I want to get your thoughts on all this, and what do you think is behind this uptick?
Well, glad to be with you. Wish it was under for a better topic, as it were. But obviously, religious liberty is under attack on a lot of fronts, and anti-Semitism, it's the Jews being the canary in the coal mine once again. What we're watching is a new facade of being used of quote-unquote Palestinian liberation, as if the Jews, the promised land, everybody knows what the promised land is, everybody knows who was promised to, but on college campuses today, as part of an attack on the Bible overall, they want you to pretend that those lines don't exist. And in fact, the traditional Judaism doesn't exist, because in our liturgy on a daily basis, we are praying for return to Jerusalem, rebuilding of Jerusalem, ingathering the exiles, and restoration of the divine presence in the Holy Temple. So, we've never given up on the Holy Land, and they want to tell you that it actually belongs to somebody else.
Yeah, meantime, at Amherst University in Massachusetts, apparently the student newspaper there published a piece entitled "In Defense of Hamas," saying in part, quote, "While Hamas may aptly be called a terrorist organization, if they are one, Israel and the U.S. government are equally as violent and less justified." I'd like to get your reaction to that.
Well, to be honest, the Contra, the paper in question, is not the student newspaper. It's one that likes to publish so-called contrarian ideas, like, is democracy really a bad thing, for example. But this was obviously an atrocious thing that any student would imagine, much less publish, trying to defend a terror organization that intentionally targets civilians for murder and uses the quote-unquote building of settlements, otherwise known as allowing Jews to have a home, as a violent act. There's something really interesting about this which people need to think about, which is that if you go back to 1979, when the Provisional Irish Republican Army blew up Lord Mountbatten's boat and killed him as a civilian, killed his wife, killed his deckhand, that almost destroyed the IRA. The Chechen rebellion, essentially everybody around the world lost interest in the Chechen rebellion when they took a page out of the Palestinian playbook, took over a school, and children were killed. Nobody has sympathy for organizations that deliberately target children unless those children are Jews in Israel.
Rabbi Menken, we're almost out of time, but I also want to get your reaction to what's happening in Australia, where government leaders have just announced that they will no longer recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. This comes as quite a departure from their previous stance. What's your take on all this?
Jerusalem has only been one nation's capital ever in history. It has always been somebody else's far-flung province, and there's only one government that has ever provided religious liberty for Jews, Christians, and Muslims who want to worship there. It is the eternal capital of the Jewish nation, of the nation of Israel. And as far as the modern country of Israel, it's not dependent on Australia to tell us what it is or what it isn't. Those countries, like the United States, thanks to former President Trump, that recognize that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, are simply affording the sole Jewish nation the same dignity and the same right to determine its capital, which is afforded to every other nation on the planet.
Oh, Rabbi Menken, I wish we had more time. Unfortunately, that's all we have for right now. But thank you so much for coming on, as always. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.